Tony, I usually say that I tell a guest I don't have any curveballs coming. This might be somewhat of an awkward curveball.
Oh, sure.
Is there anything specifically you would say to a couple around the area of sex? Like, is there anything that you're like, if I had one word of encouragement in that area, an area that I feel like we don't talk enough about, but is the source away from maybe money, is the source of
Yeah.
so much conflict, frustration for totally different
Mhm.
reasons within one marriage?
Mhm. And Adam, I talked to so many people in my law office who said they were living in a sexless marriage. And I'm not going to say that I don't know the chicken and the egg question, what came first, dropping sex away and the relationship drifted apart, or the relationship drifted apart and then the sex life stopped. But your healthy relationship as a married couple includes your sex life, whatever it looks like for the two of you. And I think we have to get the Hollywood version of sex life out of our minds, because often it's just not going to be helpful. Like, it can be very distorting, and it can look like, I don't know, just it can be discouraging instead of a source of life. The real source of life in your marriage is your physically, emotionally, spiritually connected relationship and the expression of it. So your sex life is so very important. And yet I know for parents who are listening who have young kids, it can be such a challenge. It can seem like, how do I even have energy left at the end of the day for a sex life? This is where I would encourage people to tune into the One Extraordinary Marriage. Tony and Alyssa DiLorenzo I had a conversation with them on my podcast, and I don't mention that because I'm
No,
trying to
this is
plug my
fantastic.
podcast, Adam. But I remembered that they wrote a book about how they entered a 60-day sex challenge, and it turned around their marriage. And they had young kids at the time. So their challenge was that they were going to find a way to have sex every day for 60 days. And they describe how life-changing that experiment was. So I'm going to be really open with you, Adam, and say that recently, after we had that conversation with the DiLorenzos, I presented the conversation to Carey, and I said, hey, they have this like 60-day sex challenge, but they also have really made it much more accessible for people. So they also talk about a 7-day sex challenge. So I said, hey, like, we have to try this 7-day sex challenge. And and so I can say that it's great. Like, you should just challenge yourselves as a couple to do what it takes to do a 7-day sex challenge, or really go for it and do the 60 days. Like, hats off to anyone who takes the 60-day challenge.
This might be the most shared episode among spouses in the history of my podcast. No, and piece of advice for parents with young kids: best investment you can ever make is a lock on your door. I think you can find like a latch one for roughly $6 or $7 on Amazon. Go do that. Invest in your marriage in that way.